The elevator smelled like cold marble and expensive cologne. Nyla Hassan did not belong here and she knew it. She was 22, rocking an oversized forest green puffer jacket over a white-ribbed crop top, high-waisted black joggers, and beat-up cream Air Forces that had survived 2 winters and 1 breakdown. Her braids were half up, half wild, held together by a claw clip that was one bad day away from snapping. She had a tote bag on one shoulder and a toddler's snack pack in the other hand. She was a nanny. That was the whole thing. The apartment on the 34th floor of Hartwell Tower belonged to someone who clearly did not believe in clutter or warmth. Floor-to-ceiling windows swallowed the skyline whole. The furniture was all clean lines and no soul. A single dying plant sat in the corner like even nature could not survive here. The little girl, Mia, was 4 years old and already had the energy of a small tornado. She had been Nyla's assignment for 3 weeks. The dad was never around. Until tonight. He walked in at 9 p.m. like he owned the air in the room, which technically he did. Zane Hartwell. Tall, obviously, because of course he was. He was wearing a charcoal-fitted dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up, dark tailored trousers, and leather shoes that cost more than Nyla's rent. His jaw was sharp. His eyes were tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. He stopped when he saw Nyla on the floor, building a block tower with Mia. He looked at his daughter. Then at Nyla. Then at the tower. "She never lets me build with her," he said. It was not a question. It was barely even a statement. It was just something that fell out of him. Nyla looked up. "Did you ever sit on the floor and try?" He had no answer for that. Mia knocked the tower down and laughed. Nyla caught Zane's face in that exact moment and something in it cracked open just slightly. She should not have noticed that. She was going to regret noticing that. 3 days later, Zane's assistant Marcus showed up at the apartment looking like he had been awake since last Thursday. He had on a wrinkled navy blazer over a graphic tee, round glasses, and the desperate energy of a man holding 11 things together with only 10 fingers. Nyla was in the kitchen making Mia's lunch. Turkey. No crust. Obviously. "I need to be very real with you right now," Marcus said, pulling out a chair without being invited to sit. "Bold move," Nyla said. He explained. There was a gala. Annual charity event. Every major donor, board member, and tabloid photographer in the city would be there. Zane was supposed to bring his girlfriend. That girlfriend had just announced on social media that she was in Bali with someone else. The gala was in 48 hours. "And you need a +1, Nyla said slowly. "We need someone who is not flustered by wealth or power. Someone real." He said that, not me. Nyla turned around. Zane was standing in the hallway in a fresh white shirt, arms crossed, watching her like he was not sure what she was going to do next and he was tired of always knowing what people were going to do next. "You were listening the whole time," she said. "It is my apartment." That is such a rich person answer. Something moved in his face. Not a smile. Almost. "You would be paid," Marcus jumped in. "Generously." Nyla thought about her mom's hospital bill sitting on her kitchen counter at home. She thought about the final notice on the second page. She looked at Zane. "If I go, I am not performing for anyone. I am not pretending to be someone I am not. I am not asking you to," he said quietly. "Then we have a deal." She did not see the way he exhaled after she turned back to the sandwich. Like something in him had been waiting for someone to say exactly that. The dress was borrowed. Midnight blue, fitted at the waist, with a subtle shimmer that caught the light when she moved. Nyla wore her braids down, edges laid, gold hoops, and one thin gold ring she never took off because it belonged to her grandmother. She looked stunning and she knew it and she refused to be weird about it. Zane saw her in the lobby and went very still for exactly 3 seconds. You look, he started. Finish that sentence carefully, she said. Different, he said. That is a terrible compliment. I am not good at compliments. I noticed. The gala was all crystal chandeliers and soft jazz and people who smiled with their mouths only. Nyla stayed close to Zane but not too close, reading the room the way she always did, quietly cataloging exits and energies and who was actually happy versus who was performing happiness. It was a skill she had built young and sharpened through necessity. At one point a woman with a razor-sharp blowout and a red gown appeared and looked at Nyla like she was a question that needed to be answered. I did not know Zane was bringing someone new, the woman said, her voice smooth and warm and completely fake. I did not know I needed your permission, Nyla said, equally warm, equally fake, somehow more convincing. Zane made a noise behind her that was definitely a laugh covered up by a cough. Later, on the balcony, just the two of them, the city glittering below, he said something she did not expect. I have not laughed in this building in 2 years. She looked at him. What happened 2 years ago? He was quiet for a long moment. Mia's mom left. And I convinced myself that was fine. That I was fine. Were you? No. The honesty of it hit her somewhere soft. She looked away first. Then his phone buzzed. He looked at it. His whole body shifted. I have to go handle something, he said, voice tight. Stay. I will be back. He was not back in 10 minutes. Or 20. When Nyla finally went looking, she found him in a corridor talking to the woman in the red gown in a voice too low to hear clearly. The woman had her hand on his arm. He was not pulling away. Marcus appeared at Nyla's shoulder. That is Diana Hartwell, he said quietly. His ex-wife. Nyla kept her face very still. He told me she left. Marcus looked uncomfortable. It is more complicated than that. The floor felt slightly less steady than it had 5 minutes ago. The truth came out at 1 a.m. in the back of a black car, the city sliding past the windows like a film neither of them had asked to be in. You knew she was going to be there, Nyla said. Not an accusation. A fact. Zane did not answer immediately and that was its own answer. I knew it was possible, he said. That is the same thing. I needed to see if I could be in a room with her and not fall apart. And you used me to do it. That is not what he stopped. Started again. I did not plan this to be transactional. You literally paid me to be there. That was before. Before what? He turned and looked at her directly in that way he had, no deflection, no performance. Before I realized I did not want you there as a shield. I wanted you there because you are the only person in any room who talks to me like I am just a person. Nyla felt the truth of that land. She felt it and then she set it aside because she had more to say. Diana told me something tonight, she said. When you were gone. He went very still. She said you pushed her out. That she did not leave. She said you shut down after a business loss and she could not reach you and eventually you stopped trying to be reached. The silence in the car was thick. She was not wrong, he said finally. So Mia's mother did not abandon her. Her father did the shutting. I was drowning. A lot of people drown, Zane. Not all of them take everyone down with them. He looked out the window. She watched his reflection in the glass. Then her phone rang. It was her mother. At 1 a.m. Nyla picked up and her whole face changed in the span of 3 seconds. She got out of the car at the next light without saying a word. Her mother was fine. It was a false alarm, a panic attack, a night that aged Nyla 5 years and ended with her sitting on a hospital waiting room chair at 3 a.m. in a midnight blue dress that belonged to someone else, gold hoop still in, mascara not quite intact. Zane was already there when she arrived. She stopped in the doorway. How did you know which hospital? Marcus tracked your rideshare. That is invasive. I know. I am working on it. He had a coffee in each hand. He held one out. She took it and sat down 2 seats away from him because she needed the distance to think clearly. My mom does not have insurance, she said quietly. That is why I took this job. That is why I took your money. That is why I said yes to the gala. Okay, he said. I am not telling you that so you can fix it. I know. I am telling you because you were honest with me tonight and it feels wrong to hold on to something that heavy without putting it down somewhere. He nodded slowly. I am sorry. For using the situation. For not being upfront. I am sorry too, she said. I said things that were true but I said them to hurt you, not to help you. That was not fair. They sat in the quiet of the waiting room, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, 2 people who had no business being in each other's lives, holding coffees that were already going cold. Mia asked about you this morning, he said. Before all of this. She asked if you were going to keep coming. Nyla looked at him. What did you say? I said I hoped so. She looked down at the cup in her hands. One honest sentence. No performance. No pitch. Just the truth, handed over quietly. I am not a project, she said. And I am not a solution to your loneliness. I know that. But I would not be opposed to figuring out what this is. Slowly. With full transparency. I can do that, he said. And for the first time all night, it sounded like a promise he actually intended to keep. The hospital hummed around them. Her mother slept down the hall. The city carried on outside, indifferent and brilliant. And Nyla Hassan, in a borrowed dress and beat-up Air Forces she had slipped back on at some point, decided that some things you do not plan for. Some things just show up on the 34th floor and knock your whole life sideways. And maybe, sometimes, that is the beginning of something real. The end.